Welcome to another glaze review. This week we're looking at Dark Magma by Mayco. So let's take a look. I'm excited to share a glaze review that's been highly requested by you guys. Mayco's SW406 Dark Magma. This stoneware glaze that promises dramatic lava-like effects with deep charcoal tones and textured volcanic flows. It's part of the Mayco's Stoneware range, designed to create the striking high contrast finishes we all love. I've been curious about this glaze and how it performs on different shapes and forms and with various application techniques. So let's dive in and see what Dark Mayco can really do. Right, so here's what we're working with today. We've got these little test tile here, as always, essential for any glaze review. You can see it's got a stamp and my maker's mark on the bottom. I also have this beautiful moon vase that I've just thrown and bisque fired. The moon shape is perfect for showing the glaze movement and texture, especially in a reactive glaze like Dark Magma. You'll see how the glaze behaves both on vertical and curved surfaces, which should give us a really good sense of its character. So let's start with glazing the inside of the moon vase. Rather than brushing, I'm going to pour the glaze into the vessel. This technique gives a smooth, even coat and is much quicker for interior surfaces. I'm pouring in a generous amount, swirling it around to coat the entire inside, and then pouring the excess back into the bucket. You'll want to work fairly quickly here to avoid any drips or uneven patches. There we go. Nice and smooth. Now let's set this aside and begin working on the test tile. Whilst the inside of the moon vase dries, I'm going to begin glazing up this test tile by applying 3 coats with a brush. I want to make sure that this is nice and smooth and even, and that the clay body has a chance to dry between each coat. This is the recommendation for application of this glaze. You can see the consistency is quite thick and creamy, which is typical for these lava glaze styles. Each coat needs to fully dry before I put the next one on, so patience really is key here. The raw glaze has that deep, almost charcoal black appearance, but we know that when it goes in the kiln, the magic will happen. I'm making sure to give this test tile a really good even coverage so that we can see the true potential of this dark magma on the flat surface. I'll set that test tile aside and it's time to come back to the moon vase. Taking a quick look inside, I can see it's dry, so I can begin glazing on the outside of the moon vase. It's important to let the clay dry out between each coat because the glaze is applied through sucking in the raw materials that are suspended in water. And if the clay body is too damp or wet, then it won't hold the material on the surface correctly, and this can cause it to fall or chip or crack off. So once it's dry, I'm using a brush to apply 3 coats, again on the exterior. With a form like this, you really want to pay attention to how the glaze sits on the curved edges. I'm working methodically, letting each coat dry before adding the next. You can really see the thickness starting to build up as I add each layer stacked on top of each other. This is exactly what we want for the lava glaze so that it can create these big textured surfaces. The beauty of this vase is its shape, and the round smooth surfaces will contrast really nicely with the textured lava glaze. So once I've applied the final coat, I'll set it aside to finally dry. Here we are, the test tile and the moon vase, side by side, both glazed and ready to go. You can see how the raw glaze looks quite uniform at this stage, but trust me, the transformation in the kiln is going to be dramatic. So let's get it loaded up first. Whilst I'm setting the dials, let's talk a little bit about loading a glaze kiln. With reactive glazes like Dark Magma, placement is important. You want to make sure the pieces aren't too close together in case the glaze runs or as it expands they can begin to touch. I'm firing all of these vases in the kiln to 1222 degrees Celsius, which is cone 6, for around 9 hours, increasing from 150 degrees per hour. I'll then allow for a 15-minute soak when it reaches that final temperature. And that soak helps the glaze mature and develop those really lovely lava effects. So now that everything's loaded, it's time to start firing, and we wait. 2 days later, and the kiln has finally cooled down. This is always the most exciting part. Let's open it up and see how the Dark Magma performed. The anticipation never gets old, does it? First up, we've got this test tile here. Look at that. You can see the beautiful contrast between the soft charcoal base and those lava textured flows. It didn't swell too much. And now for the moon vase. This has come out beautiful. You can see where I poured the glaze on the inside and it spilt over the lid, and this created an extra thick area here and around the rim. There's a lovely balance between that soft charcoal coloured glaze and those patches of volcanic texture. This is exactly what I was hoping for. It's dramatic, but not too overwhelming. The lava flows have settled into curves on the vase in such an organic way. I really like how this finished. You can see the beautiful texture close up here. And now we have a bonus piece. I glazed this rising moon off camera, and because of its size, I just dipped it directly into the glaze bucket. Look how the lava texture has come up really nice and pronounced. The dipping technique gave it a thicker, more dramatic coat, and you can see the results compared to the brush-on glaze. So here are both the moon vases side by side with the test tile. You can see the differences between brush application and dip application. Both techniques work beautifully with Dark Magma, but they give you quite different results. It's all about the effects you're after. So there you have it, Mayco SW406 Dark Magma, a stunning glaze with real character and depth. I'm pleased with how these pictures turned out, and before you go, don't forget about our Christmas giveaway. If you'd like a chance to win some handmade pottery from my studio, head to the link in the bio and register. And if you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe. It helps the channel to grow, and I'll see you in the next one.